This is the Happily Living podcast, where we discuss how to better ourselves by developing routines that set us up for a better existence, uncovering deeper connections with nature, and growing awareness, leaving you with a new relationship between you and the world. Let's get into it. Here, welcome to the Happily Living podcast. If you are rejoining us, welcome as well. On this episode, I have a guest today. Welcome, Ben. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Happy to finally be here.
Yeah, of course. Today we're going to talk about health and fitness. And as you guys know, or for some of you guys, Ben and I have been doing this little tango for over 5 years now. We've grown with each other, and we've grown more as individuals and finding out who we are as people. And with that being said, while I may be into working on health and wellness, I'm more of the eco-friendly, love the planet, tree-hugging gal. And Ben is the more community-oriented, 1% better, rise and grind, motivated, just a sweet, loving guy, yeah? So, with that being said, share with us your story from growing up today and who you are.
Yeah, so I'm just this guy from Michigan. Been here for most of my life. Was born in North Carolina, but moved here pretty early on. I went to Michigan State. I found since then a lot of passion for community and connection. I really enjoyed kind of getting out into the world, connecting with people. That has been a lot of my passions recently. And I've been able to really live through that in the way that I've pursued health and fitness, from being able to go out and work out with people, from going and doing a triathlon with 2 weeks notice with a friend who just asked to do it. So really enjoyed kind of getting out there with people, being around people, having that community and connection driven mindset, and really enjoy just having fun. Can be a goofy little dorky guy sometimes. I try not to take myself too seriously because I feel like I enjoy life more that way. And so yeah, that's who I am. That's where I've been.
Very factual for sure. So the other day we were talking about, you told me did you know that essentially the reason why we need to breathe is actually to get rid of the excess carbon that we actually have stored in our bodies, through everything that we eat, to just carbon matter in general all around us. So can you kind of tell our listeners what that all is and what that means?
Yeah, so what I've ultimately kind of learned in my understanding of the topic from what I've heard from people who are much more qualified than I am is that essentially breathing burns fat. When you breathe, you are getting fat out of your body. And so kind of taking a step back from that and thinking about how all that works. Obviously, have you heard of the carbon cycle?
Mm-hmm.
So carbon cycle, part of it, for those who don't know, is we consume carbon in the things that we eat. We expel carbon through breathing as carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide then goes into the plants. They take the energy from the sun to break down the carbon dioxide and turn it back into oxygen, which ends up coming back to us. We eat the plants, things like that. So ultimately, how does the carbon get from our bodies after we eat the food and we consume the carbon? We then obviously use that energy right away, or it gets stored as fat. So how does it get from there to back out into the world? And how do we expel that fat that is now in our bodies from what we have eaten? And the way that is done is through our breathing. As we know, when we breathe in oxygen, and we breathe out carbon dioxide. So the difference between those things is just a carbon molecule. And so when you breathe in oxygen, it will go into your bloodstream. We will then break down the carbon bonds that we have stored in us through fat. That carbon bond breaking gives us energy, and then the carbon bond then kind of molds there and connects to the oxygen that we have just breathed in, and we breathe it out as carbon dioxide. So essentially, when we are breathing, we are breaking down our fat and we are expelling it. And that's really a crazy thing to think about, and has kind of shifted my mindset on what it means to, burn fat to lose weight. and thinking about, what is the way to do that. And there really is an infinite number of ways, because there are plenty of ways to breathe more. And so what people may think is, oh, I can just breathe a lot really fast and I'm going to start burning fat. I mean, essentially, yes. But what happens when you start doing that? When you start breathing too fast, what's going to happen to you? You're going to hyperventilate. You're going to start to get a little anxious, kind of pass out eventually if you do it for long enough. But if you stop doing it, then your breathing's going to go back down. So that's not an effective way to actually burn more fat, because you're going to pass out, or two, you're going to breathe really fast for a while. But then when you stop that hyperventilating, you start to slow down, and you actually will start breathing slower than what you were breathing before, and so it kind of offsets, because you aren't breathing as much after. So you're breathing more, then breathing less. They kind of balance out. So we need to effectively find a way to be able to breathe more and do that at a sustained rate. And obviously the best way to do that is through exercise, through moving our bodies, because anyone who has exercised, you can do a lot of breathing through it. The higher you get your heart rate up, the more you're going to breathe, the more fat you will essentially burn, the more calories that you will burn by getting those carbon molecules out of your body. And so it really changed the way I've thought about fat loss, and the way that breathing affects us and all the things we do. And even when it comes to breathing, we don't breathe necessarily to bring in oxygen, we breathe to bring in carbon dioxide, or bring out carbon as carbon dioxide. When we kind of have that moment of I need to take a breath, I need to breathe in, I need to breathe out, that doesn't come from our body telling us, hey, we're low on oxygen. Generally it doesn't come that way. Generally it comes from, hey, I have this carbon buildup that I need to get rid of. And that is your body's way of telling you, hey, I need to breathe. And then so that's when you start breathing. You start breathing in oxygen, so you can get that carbon out of your system, get rid of that waste that you have just created from that energy, breaking those bonds, so getting rid of that extra carbon waste.
So how does that coincide with, our blood cells needing oxygen?
Yeah, so our blood cells, they need oxygen to get rid of that carbon. So when we breathe in oxygen into our lungs, it goes into our blood, gets pumped through our heart to the rest of our body. So our body sends that oxygen throughout our body so it can grab those carbons from all the places that we store it, and it can move them out. So it's not necessarily that we need oxygen. We do need oxygen, but it's more about getting rid of the carbon.
Okay. So even through our bloodstream and everything, it's more about regulating the overall capacity of carbon that we have stored in our body.
Yeah, that is my understanding of it. Is generally that is what we have to do. Our bodies do a great job of removing waste from ourselves, and this is the way that we remove carbon waste, is by breathing in oxygen specifically, so we can get rid of it.
Okay, that's very interesting, because like I said, there's a lot of things that I learned through you, and I don't think I would have found that before, without you telling me, because there's a lot of podcasts that you do listen to that I don't, and so that's very helpful, especially for my listeners, to kind of understand the overall takeaway of fitness, and how it's more than just your overall image. It's about health and wellness. It's about breathing. It's about regulating your stress and your overall anxiety. It's about a lot more than just the image. And I know how with yoga, it's very much focused on breath work and finding things that are a constant in your life, and that is your breath. And just overall, with running, you have to focus on your breath, otherwise it's not sustainable with being able to last, for endurance or whatever it is. So that's really important to know, know. So thank you. Can you tell us a little bit more about your fitness journey, how you started to really get into that? Because I know that for everyone, especially when you're let's say you're just born, right? It's not something that we're all oh my God, I need to exercise as a baby. It's just something that's either in our environment, we're surrounded by, whether it's our parents or siblings, whatever, that always work out, and we see that, and then that's just what we kind of attain for ourselves, or something else happens. So how did you get so motivated and passionate about health and fitness?
Well, I mean, I've always enjoyed like doing some level of fitness. Growing up, playing sports, played soccer all my life. Picked up some other sports here and they played a little bit like ultimate frisbee, dodgeball, growing up in high school and whatnot. So I've always enjoyed like moving, like being athletic, and I think a lot of that is just the act of like doing it with people. Like I said, I have a passion for community, and so making those connections, kind of being involved in like those community activities through physical activity has been something I've really enjoyed all my life. But as far as like taking this stuff more seriously, like getting into the gym, that didn't happen until a little bit later. Like in high school, I almost never went to the gym. I only went a little bit with one of my friends just because we both got like gym memberships together like at the end of high school, and we just like go after work. So as far as getting into more of like the fitness stuff, that happened more into college. I think that was especially kick-started a lot through when I started working at Lululemon, kind of being put into that community of, those like-minded people who enjoy fitness, who like kind of work towards it. I met a lot of cool people through the ambassadors that we had that actually, they ran studios, they're actual trainers, stuff like that. Some other people I worked with, one of my good friends that I made like while there, Travis, he started his own fitness company, nutrition, and really helping to train people and work out. So kind of being around those people is really what helped started that for me. Also, I think even like quarantining COVID helped with that. Just kind of being locked in without much to do, wanted to get out and do something, get moving, get doing something. So started running, started doing workouts at home with my roommates, stuff like that to kind of, keep busy, have fun. And pushing you to do the same, even when you didn't want to. But started to find that passion for doing those kind of things. And it's really been something that I've enjoyed for a long time now. And now as I get into it more, really kind of going from that like beginner stage of, you're just working out, you're getting active, you're exercising, to now getting into that little more, I guess what you can call like intermediate stage of it, where I'm actually trying to understand what goes into it a little bit more. Trying to have a little more structure to it, because obviously you can work out to work out. You're going to get more fit, you're going to get in better shape, you're going to be more healthy, stuff like that. But if you really want to progress in whatever your goals are for fitness, if you have certain goals, whether it's building muscle, building endurance, building strength, whatever you want to really focus on, you really need to kind of get down to like knowing what you're doing. You can't just like show up and be like, oh, I'm just going to do whatever at the gym today. Trying to find a little more structure is going to really be what helps amplify that more, rather than just kind of going willy-nilly. Right.
So like tell us, what is a goal of yours? I know for a while you were really interested in calisthenics. So can you explain like what that is for those who don't know what that is, and just kind of go over like how it's transitioned for more than just working out as a guy in college?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of calisthenics, I kind of just enjoyed doing that a little bit in college. That was mainly, I think, during like COVID and quarantine where I enjoyed doing that. And that was just because like locked in, couldn't really go anywhere. So just doing these cool things that I've seen people do online, like with their bodies, like having that control. So I just enjoyed trying to get into that, didn't have the option of really going to a gym because everything was closed down. Everything kind of had to be mainly like body weight stuff, or like the little bit of weights I had. So just found like doing that was fun, and started to get into it a little bit more now, just because once again, like I think it's cool to have that control of your body, being able to like move in those ways without restriction, which is kind of what I've really started to be getting into. Is my current goals, I just want to be at like the highest like overall fitness level that I can be. I want to be able to do things unrestricted, whether that is, helping someone move, having the strength to do that, or it's, a friend who asked me to do a triathlon 2 weeks out and being able to go do that. So having like an overall good fitness level where I can do these things, be unrestricted in the way I move my body and what I'm really able to do.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. So with COVID and getting more into working out and everything, you can find more ways of being outside, right, than just like staying at home and doing these things. Which one did you kind of prefer? Like, did you enjoy doing workouts outside and being in nature? Or like, tell us a little bit about like what you typically had as a routine during that time?
I think it kind of depended on what I was doing.
Right.
As far as when it comes to that, something like running or like cardio, I do really enjoy being outside just because it's kind of like a little more, it's not as intense. It's a little more like low key. You kind of just like, it's that prolonged endurance stuff. And so it's nice to like be outside and kind of like have that setting, breathe in fresh air, kind of see the things around you. It helps like put me like in that zone, I guess, to like be able to do that stuff. So I do enjoy like being outside for that. But when it comes to like things like strength and weightlifting, obviously generally it's gonna have to be in the gym to be able to have all that equipment.
Right.
I wouldn't mind being outside, but I think it's just easier for that kind of stuff, like being in an indoor setting, being able to do all that kind of stuff.
So give our listeners a better idea as to how this has kind of become more of like a daily routine for you, like a ritual.
I mean, I think when it comes to something like health and fitness, one of the most important things is consistency. And for my personal goals, variety. But I think consistency is definitely one of the most important things. So you don't lose those level of fitness. You don't kind of lose that muscle that you've built if you kind of go too long without doing so. Obviously, if you don't use it, you're going to lose it. And so having that consistency with those things, trying to get into the gym multiple times a week, trying to do cardio multiple times a week to make sure I'm keeping those levels that I want to be at and at least maintaining, if not improving, those levels. As far as like routine, in the morning I try to do just a small morning routine, and I think you see like everywhere, like online now, like people like doing these morning routines, like, oh, like the perfect morning routine for like motivation for fitness, or like whatever it is. And
yeah,
I mean, I've tried a few of those, and like some of them like I enjoy doing, but I think for everyone, if they do want to try to do something like that, you really got to find out what works for you.
Right.
Trial and error kind of stuff with that. And so I've kind of found for mine, I don't like to wake up and just like go hard out the gate. Some people like wake up, do like 100 push-ups and like go for like a 5-mile run and like do all this crazy stuff like right away. And like I didn't enjoy doing that. And so mine's a little more low key. I wake up, I will, do whatever I need to kind of get ready for the day. I'll do kind of a little routine of like stretches, try to just get my body like mobile and moving. I've had some issues with like shoulders and with knees through some of the sports I played and not properly taking care of that. And that's something that I've really started to learn about recently, is just like the ways of taking care of your body and improving some of those smaller areas that will ultimately, they kind of help like skyrocket and improve everything else. But so doing like stretches, doing some small routines with that, like my shoulder movements, doing some like lower body stretches, and then I usually just follow that up with just a small amount of exercise, whether it's like doing like 30 push-ups and some different like sets of like ab exercises. Nothing too crazy, just trying to get my body moving, kind of getting myself like in an awake feeling, getting the heart rate up a little bit, but nothing too crazy.
So because I know I've woken up sometimes before and you're over here doing the push-ups and the breathing.
Mm-hmm.
What is that?
So I haven't done that in a while, to be honest. That's, a few years ago when we were living together, when we did that, or when I did that. So it was called, Wim Hof, I don't know if you've heard of him. He's this big guy about breathing. He's come out with a lot of really cool like breathing techniques to overcome some crazy stuff. Like this guy will climb like mountains in just like shorts, no shirts on, just like this super cold weather, and he's able to get through that through like the way he breathes. He sits in ice cold water for the longest time, and he's able to get through just through the way he breathes and kind of pushes his body through that. So what I was doing there, it was a exercise kind of called like Wim Hof push-ups, and you go through the breathing, you kind of get like your heart rate, and you almost like go through like a hyperventilating kind of motion of like big breaths in, big breaths out, and do it fairly quickly. And then from there, after you get through so many, you hold your breath and you just crank out push-ups, and you go for as many as you can while holding your breath. And so that was something that I did because at that time, just going through a lot of things personally, trying to improve like my mental well-being and stuff like that, and getting over some anxiety issues or confidence issues that I had at the time. And so that was just a way of me kind of training myself to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. Obviously, you're sitting there cranking out push-ups without breathing. Like, you're going to stress out a little bit. It's going to freak you out a little bit. And so kind of just going through that, each morning or most mornings, kind of getting myself like in the mindset of, if I do get stressed out, like I can get through it. I can kind of just like keep myself calm. And that really helped in any work situations I had when, getting stressed out, kind of getting like fast-paced stuff, just kind of being able to train myself to be able to calm down, take a step back, and like kind of just coast through those stressful moments without like letting it overcome me.
Yeah. So with that being said, are there any crutches that you have like over the years found yourself kind of relying on, as like even beneficial to your overall health and fitness that you do?
As far as like crutches go, like when there are times when I like do fall out of it, like do get out of like the routine, or like since like we've been back from this trip, like I haven't gone for like any runs yet really. The best way that I found for myself personally to get back into those things is I do really well when I do things with people. So whether it's going to like a group class for like a workout or something, kind of just getting back into like that mindset of like working out and like pushing my body and stuff like that, because being around like the people and like doing it, I found it very beneficial to me to kind of push myself further, get through those things. And I understand like group classes isn't always for everyone. Some people are very much about I just like to work out by myself. I don't like to be around people when I work out. Like some people get uncomfortable with that. But I've found a lot of enjoyment in doing it. It kind of just helps me get into like a fun mindset of like, I don't have to be doing this. I'm like getting to do this. Like I'm getting to move my body. I'm getting to enjoy doing this kind of stuff. And it pushes me to be better with those things. And there's a lot of people out there in like the fitness community that are really awesome people. Like they're not going to judge you. Like they are there to like help you grow. Like obviously through Lululemon, I've met a lot of great people that way. Like one of our current ambassadors, Chris, she is an incredible person. She is very inspiring to me in the way that she pushes herself. She pushes the people around her, the people on her team. And she's one of the most motivating people I've met. So there are great people out there like in the fitness industry that are really there to help people be their best and like do it in a very judgment-free way, a very motivating way. And I think it's something that people should really push themselves to do, even if they are uncomfortable with like group classes and like working out around people, is just try to push yourself to do it. Try to find those people, because I think once you do, it's really going to help elevate the experience. It's really going to help you enjoy it more, because you're not going through it alone. I think there's this idea of like a common struggle that really brings people together. And so I think finding that kind of stuff has really helped me.
Well, that's just a slice of lemon pie right there. Okay, well, for some of those that are listening that actually want to begin or add more fitness into their daily lifestyle but aren't actually like making those first steps to actually do it, like where you say like, oh, like I've been wanting to work out or I need to do this, but like don't actually like do that first step to do it. What would be some advice that you would give them, or even to yourself if you were in that position, in order to have some progression?
For me, what's really helped me to really get into it obviously was like the community aspect, like enjoying like doing things with people. Like I said, like I've enjoyed like doing that growing up, but a lot of it is just kind of getting more out of life. Like exercising is not only going to improve your life, it's going to lengthen your life. So being able to have that consistent stuff, like consistently strength training, consistently doing endurance, cardiovascular training, is going to give you a better and a longer life. I kind of think about, when I'm a grandfather or whatever, I want to be able to, pick up my grandchildren without issue. I don't want to, kind of be too weak where I can't do that. Because, you think about it, like, if you think a grandpa or grandma's with their grandchild, you think they're going to be more happy if they can pick them up, throw them around, play with them, or if they kind of just have to sit there and just look at them. So I want to be able to like get the most out of my life. Like I want to be able to enjoy the things I'm doing and do those things unrestricted. Like I said, I've done a triathlon with 2 weeks notice before. It was a short triathlon to say the least, but my friend, she just asked, a group of us, like, hey, does anyone want to run this with me? And I almost without hesitation said yes. And I was able to do that because I have been consistently, working on my fitness. I've been consistently doing some level of cardiovascular training, some level of strength training. So I want to be able to like do those things unrestricted, because I really get a lot of enjoyment out of it. Like, you get out into the world, you do these great things. The people in any sort of fitness industry, whether it's people who run races, people who train, people who do anything, like, there's so many great people out there, and they're very welcoming communities, and you can get a lot out of them. And so I want to be able to do that, like, without hesitation. I don't want to have to say, no, I can't. I don't want to do this, or I can't do this with friends, because my body won't let me.
Right.
And so I want to be able to do that unrestricted. And so I think that's something that a lot of people should realize is, like, fitness it's more about just like, losing fat, looking good, getting bigger, getting stronger. It doesn't have to be that way. Like, for like my goals aren't really to like be the biggest guy in the gym. Like, I don't really care about that too much. I care about more just like getting stronger, getting better, like, and some level of physical adaptation will come with that.
Yeah.
And that's great. I'm not gonna lie and say that's not an enjoyable thing to see. I do enjoy when I can kind of see that adaptation in myself, but I think a lot more of that enjoyment comes from the fact that I recognize the fact that I've worked hard. I recognize the fact that I put in the effort to get there. There was a point just after college where I was really getting consistent about working out. Like, I went to F45 a bunch.
Right.
And
that's got me to do F45.
Got you to do it too.
That was a huge hurdle.
But yeah, like, that's like a group fitness kind of class that they do. And I think that kind of stuff is really great for beginners to get people like involved in that stuff, just get moving. Yeah. But I was doing that consistently, and for the first time, and as far as I can remember, I looked in the mirror one morning and I was like, I like what I see. And it wasn't because I was shredded, because I wasn't. It wasn't because I was this big muscular guy, because I wasn't. Yes, there was some physical adaptation between me years prior, but there wasn't like this big shift, and I don't think personally like the way I looked, but it was definitely a different feeling to it. And I think that was because I was consistently going. I was pushing myself when I did go, and so I saw the hard work that I was putting into it. And so I think just like people who are struggling to kind of take those first steps to do it, just like know that if you do it, you're going to get a lot more out of your life. You're going to get a lot more opportunity to do the things you want to do. You want to go travel, you can go travel, and you can go do all these things while you're traveling without restriction. We just came back from Italy. It's a lot of walking. And for some people, that might be a little bit much to walk around that much, and that might be a struggle. So doing this kind of physical activity, you're going to be able to walk around wherever you want. You'll be able to go on these cool hikes that we went on, see these really cool views, and be able to do these things unrestricted. And just start doing it. Like, I know it's hard at first. Like, we talked about, like, me and you with running. Like,
oh my gosh,
running sucks when you start out.
I didn't think that there was like the running where I'm not a cardio person at all, and the running where it's just like burning your lungs and like I can't figure out how to breathe properly. I didn't think that was gonna end, so I just wasn't a fan of running.
Well, you just gotta do it consistently.
But I didn't realize the other day when we chatted that like it's just kind of like a hurdle, and you just have to get over it, and then it won't be as apparent as it was. Like, if I would have known that, I would have just kept pushing myself so that way I could get it done and over with sooner.
I mean, the body is so incredible when it comes to adaptations, and so you just kind of got to get over that first hurdle of essentially letting your body know, like, hey, I'm going to keep on doing this, so you need to change.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, at first it's not ready for it. Like, I just had a soccer game last night. I haven't done sprints or anything like that in a long time, and I was dying. And that's because my body recently hasn't been used to running like that. Like, it's been used to more steady state stuff, slow pace stuff. It hasn't been used to that stop, go really fast. And it was tough. And so I'm sure next week when we have our next game, my body's going to be better adjusted to it, because it's like, hey, we're doing this again. Like, this is what we're doing. And so just getting over that initial hump of it's going to be hard at first. I have no doubt about that for most people. It's going to be tough at first, whether it's running, whether it's strength training. You might feel initially like this sucks, like I'm not any good at this.
Right.
And it just takes that little bit of time to get into it where you really start to see those changes in your body. You start to get those adaptations where you can stick with it a little longer.
Yeah, and especially like if you do it for like, tell yourself like, okay, I'm just gonna do this for a week. I'm just gonna do a week trial. And after that week, like you notice that like you actually kind of crave that workout. Like not necessarily working out, it's like the feeling afterwards, the mental refresher. Like I feel like it's more than just working out. It's also like that push that you have for yourself with your mental, I don't know what it's called, but like just the mentality of just constantly getting in your own way. And then when you work out and you push yourself and you ignore whatever's being said in your head, like you get mentally stronger because like you realize how much more you're capable of than you ever gave yourself credit for, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like anything crazy either. Like working out can be pretty minimal. It can be very simple, especially when it comes to someone who doesn't work out or hasn't really worked out before. The initial growth that you're going to see is exponential. Like compare, like if I were to do, you know, whatever level of stuff right now and someone who has never worked out did the same level, they're going to see so much more growth than I am. They're going to shoot up a lot faster than I am because their body isn't used to that. And so it's going to quickly make those changes. So you can do pretty little early on and see big changes. Like you can do something, I've heard a lot of like positive like research in terms of people who do, you know, just like quick, essentially like sprints, whether that is, you know, jumping jacks, running upstairs. So couple times a day, you know, 3 times a day, just doing like 20, 30 seconds at a time. Just do 20 seconds, 30 seconds of intense jumping jacks, running upstairs for a little bit, getting that heart rate up, doing that, you know, a few times a day, doing that consistently throughout the week. It doesn't even have to be every day, just doing it multiple times a week. That's going to greatly increase like your cardiovascular endurance, especially if you're someone who hasn't done that before. And so it can be as little as a minute a day. You go in 20 seconds, 3 times a day, you know, 5 days a week. You're spending 5 minutes a week exercising, and that's kind of going to kick off what you can then do in the future.
Yeah, and you may think that like a minute is literally nothing, but the thing is like if you restrict yourself from doing any more, your body and your kind of like your mind is also like, well, I want to do more. So you kind of get more motivation to actually do it every single day.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's great to just show up. There have been times where I've gone to the gym like 20 minutes before it closed. And that's just because I wasn't motivated all day. And I finally just told myself, just go, just show up, just kind of get into the routine, get into the habit of going, enjoying going. You know, I go there, I do a couple exercises and I leave. And it's better than if I didn't go to the gym that day, you know?
Yeah.
It's that 1% improvement.
I love atomic habits.
Exactly. Or at a minimum, it's just maintaining. It's maintaining what I've done, you know, previously. And so there's a lot that can be done with a little, really, when it comes to working out.
Yeah, especially since I'm joining their soccer team and I haven't run in absolutely forever. And he's having me do the track, right? Where you do sprinting the whole straightway.
Sprinting the straights.
And then walk the
curves.
curve. Thankfully, I get to walk the curve. Otherwise, if I was jogging, I'd probably say absolutely fucking not. But then over time, like hopefully that'll help me with getting back into soccer like I used to in high school, so that way I can be better at it. So like doing little things like that kind of helps improve endurance and feeling more fit and feeling more capable and giving yourself more credit than when you like feel like you're not enough for those sports.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't have to be hard. Like it can.
And you want to make it more enjoyable.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't love F45, and then I got into it, and then I wanted to do it. But, again, like, I don't prefer cardio, and not everyone does. I may try to, like, get myself to do more cardio, but it doesn't mean I love it. And so, like, I prefer doing, like, weights at the gym with machines and whatever else. Like, that's just something I prefer, and I've really enjoyed it, and it's, like, a continual journey for me in itself as like my own. Whereas like Ben will do a lot more sports and activity related things. Like he'll do tennis, and then he'll do conditioning club, and he'll do soccer, or he'll do dodgeball or whatever else, volleyball, like literally like 3 sport activities within a day. And that may not be his workout, but it also, satisfies you, right? Like for just getting out there and being active.
Yeah, and when I'm doing this stuff, I don't think of it as like I'm going to go do a workout a lot of times. I'm going to go, have fun, spend time with my friends, playing soccer, playing volleyball, doing whatever it is. Like it's not a workout, and it's just getting out there to be enjoyable, to connect with like the people that you love, the people around you. And like I said, like just starting any level of like fitness, so like you can do that unrestricted, so you don't have to be like, oh, I don't want to go out and like go play soccer on this team or like play volleyball, because that's gonna suck, because like I don't run and all this stuff. So just like doing like this little bit just to get like your body like accustomed to moving like we have done for thousands of years. And so just getting your body accustomed to do that, you can go enjoy these things with the people around you.
Yeah, well, what do you want to send off to our listeners for the final message?
I think just overall, fitness is going to give you a happier, healthier, longer life. The more you move your body, the more you kind of like... So I guess I want to say like, when it comes to like things in your body, like new is better. Like you want to like cycle through like the stuff in your body. The same reason why it's healthy to eat a lot of fiber, because it cycles the crap through your body. The same way like exercising, it's gonna cycle your blood through your body. It's gonna cycle that oxygen, the air through your body, and so kind of getting things moving more, and kind of just like keeping your body fresh, keeping your body going. And like I said, like if you don't use it, you're gonna lose it. And so kind of getting yourself where you are consistently using it, so you won't ever lose it. And yeah.
All right, you guys, I truly hope you've enjoyed this episode as much as I did creating it. Ben, thank you so much for joining us today, especially as my first guest. I really appreciated having you.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
And thank you for sharing your insight into the health and fitness world, and kind of bringing more awareness to the overall depth of it all, more than just an image, a body image. So to my listeners, your feedback means the absolute world to me. So please don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all of my upcoming content. If you have a moment, please leave a review and share your thoughts on this episode. Your insights are incredibly valuable and help me with creating future content. As you continue with your week and look forward to the weekend, remember that your support keeps this podcast going. And I'd love to hear from you, so feel free to tag me on Instagram as you listen and share your takeaways. Your engagement brightens my day, so wishing you a fantastic rest of this week and an amazing weekend ahead with love and light.